Always a pleasure to have you. So just give us your general take. First 100 days when we're talking about AI. We started those 100 days pretty much with that Stargate announcement. How have you viewed how the Trump administration has looked at AI since then?
I think it comes back to the first conversation that we had about AI and regulation under this administration, where we're seeing a very different approach, where this is an administration that is pushing a more hands-off approach in terms of regulation, where it's looking for market corrections by the market itself, as opposed to looking at the technology and trying to engage it and address it before it goes to market. The administration has rolled back a number of safety administration goals and policy intentions to be able to regulate the technology, claiming that things like AI safety and AI responsibility are inherently bad for innovation. And I think what we're seeing here now is which methodology will be able to win the long-term AI race, right? Right now, we're in a back and forth of who's competing for the #1 spot, but the long-term spot will be to people who can build AI that is of quality, meaning that it works well for a number of users over a number of use cases, and AI that is reliable, meaning that you can use it in a number of situations. So it'll be interesting to see how technologies are able to push that innovation forward under the new administration's more hands-off approach versus the previous administration under President Biden.
So you're saying this word innovation. You're also talking about the AI race between U.S. and China. So can you give us an answer? We keep talking about this. Who's in the lead right now? How big is that lead? I talked to some experts. They say the lead is as small as 6 weeks. Other people think that we're years ahead of China. Where do you think we're at?
I think that right now the U.S. is in the lead and will continue to remain in the lead for the foreseeable future. As mentioned last time we spoke, with the DeepSeek innovation, the U.S. did see a setback with hardware development and being able to develop more efficient, more powerful models using their hardware resources more efficiently. However, now that the U.S. has started to pick up on some of those new techniques and put them into their models, our models are shooting forward ahead of China at rates that are unprecedented. Now, I want to caution that to the everyday consumer or to the everyday business person, it may not feel like that, because you're going to see a lot of videos coming out of China where AI is being adopted in everyday life faster. Some of you all may have seen the recent robot marathon that they held. And while maybe turning on AI faster, at the speed of innovation in everyday life might seem like the correct answer, that doesn't mean that deploying it more quickly means that deploying the AI means that they're better at deploying AI than us. Americans have a different quality for the standard of artificial intelligence that we put out. We wouldn't just allow anyone to go and code an artificial intelligence in their basement and be able to turn it on, let's say, for example, on a real patient, or have it actually go into a person's home and become an assistant. And so it may take us a little bit longer to see some of these applications become more everyday versus the way that we're seeing the rate of adoption inside of China. However, I firmly believe the United States is in the lead and will continue to be so in the foreseeable future, so long as we focus on reliability and on quality as two long-term values underpinning our approach to developing AI.
All right, so I think a lot of people are going to be relieved you see us in the lead. I want to ask you about some recent headlines. Time magazine had an article yesterday. It was an exclusive that they posted. The headline here was Trump pushes out AI experts hired by Biden. You and I talked yesterday. You say you actually know a few of the people who have been pushed out. So what's the short-term impact, and also what's the long-term impact when it comes to the federal government being able to get the brightest minds when it comes to AI after this?
100%. I mean, unfortunately, some of my friends were among those people who were rolled back out of the federal government. And for those who aren't aware, those folks who were referring to in that article are the folks who were specifically headhunted by the federal government to leave the private sector and come and bring their knowledge and wisdom into the public sector, into the federal government, to help various agencies figure out how to adopt artificial intelligence. Recently, all of those hires have been rolled back and released and told to go back into industry. Now, I think that this new administration, as much as they want to have a hands-off approach to maybe putting rules around this technology, need to have a hands-on approach to cultivating the minds behind the technology. And unfortunately, we are in a very, very hyper-competitive society when it comes to getting intellectual talent for artificial intelligence, where, you already have people graduating with PhDs from Stanford or from my alma mater, UC Berkeley, with, offers for $700,000-800,000 a year entry level at these, computer science companies, these tech companies, or they can go make $70,000 to $75,000 a year for our federal government. And so either the incentives on the government side need to match from an economic perspective, or we need to be a little bit more gentle with how we handle that talent, given the type of personal monetary sacrifice we're asking them to make so that they aren't attracted to be, only provide their brain power to industry, but to move our country forward together, as well as not be groups of folks that end up getting bribed by external adversaries.
So, X, I got to ask you one last question. We got to get out of here. You gave us the top 2 U.S. companies, public and private, when it comes to AI. You say it's Microsoft and Anthropic. If you were in the White House, if you joined the administration, what policies would you implement or suggest to kind of help these companies keep in the lead? You said the U.S. is in the lead, and just improve the quality. You kept saying the word quality of AI here in the U.S.
100%. I think that if we take away all of the political language around bias, around fairness in AI, there's a real challenge around the quality of these algorithms that are being deployed. And if there's one policy that I would push for, if I were a part of this administration, it would be to ensure that the algorithms that we turn on are of enough high quality to actually be used to affect human lives. For example, earlier I mentioned that we wouldn't allow, just any coder to go into their basement and make an algorithm that could tell you whether or not you were healthy. So we shouldn't be allowing that to happen in our markets today, which is unfortunately, because of the regulatory landscape, possible that somebody could very well build an algorithm in their basement, sell it to a medical company who would turn it on you, making decisions about your healthcare. Without it ever having to go through any sort of bird certification or any sort of testing or compliance. And I think that that's a critical flaw. I think that we don't let humans do that. I don't let someone who watched a bunch of YouTube videos go and then go do surgery on me. We have board certifications. So ensuring that the AI meets, at the very least, the human standards of quality that we put out for folks to be able to engage with other humans in certain fields. There are certain certifications we have, and I think we need to make sure these technologies have that certification as well.